Hi, Susie. I have to add. Hello. I'm trying to add. I'm just waiting for Chef Salomon to join us. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Oh, it says Cuisine King is not able to join. Try this again. Hey.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let me move this a little closer to the.
I can't wait to see what you're making.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even tell you. So.
I know it's a surprise for everything. I know you told me it's like it's inspired by Carpathian, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
Can you see?
Yeah. We might need to move closer at some point, but yeah, this is better.
Okay.
I need you to teach me how to season this cast iron because your cast iron is looking.
Oh, it's easy. We'll actually do it. We'll do it while while we're cooking because I already did it.
Yeah, it looks perfect. Like mine is looking rough.
Yeah. So all you need to do is add a little salt to it and let the salt turn the heat on, and then let the salt kind of sit on there, and then use like a scraper or they actually sell like these pads where you can
Oh,
just put on top of the salt to clean it, and then
yeah.
after you do that, you remove the salt, then just add some oil uh, to the pan.
Mm-hmm.
Just use like a rag or something to kind of clean around the pan and let it sit, and that's it.
Do you put it in the oven, like a hot oven after, or not?
You can put it in the oven, but I usually don't put it in the
You
oven
don't?
because I usually don't have that type of time.
Yeah, I need to do that. I think I'm gonna do it right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can start now. I think there's like a lot of people online, so
For sure.
can you hear me? I feel like it's
Yeah, I can hear you.
okay. So yeah, so okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted you to see if like you could introduce yourself, like your background and where you grew up and stuff.
Yeah, sure. My name is Sebastien Salomon. I am a chef, food lover. Love everything about food. I am in the DMV area. If you are out of the country or in the United States, that stands for DC, Maryland, Virginia. And I love to cook. I was born and raised in Haiti. And my grandmother, she was passionate about food, and she really wanted me to have, you know, to love food. And her favorite thing was to say that she didn't want me to fall in love with somebody because of their ability to cook. She wanted me to, if I meet somebody,
To know
it
how
was,
to.
yeah. So, and also I think it's there's this thing going around in social media now about gender roles and stuff like that. I think as a man you should learn how to cook.
Yeah.
It's a common, it shouldn't be a man woman thing. So, but yeah, I love food, and I got introduced to it by her. And after she passed away, I kind of had no interest in cooking. and I moved to the States. And after I moved to the States, one of my friends, he was working at a restaurant, and I didn't have a job at the time. And he was like, "Hey, man, just you know, you're not doing anything here. Just come with me to my job and let's get a job." And I remember I walked in, the manager, I got hired on the spot, and the manager was like, "Well, we can't. Um, you know, I know you're young. You probably have goals and dreams. The only thing that we have available now is a dishwasher." I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't care. I'll just do it." So I started. I'll never forget October in October of like 2006, and uh, that brought me to the job. He got
Oh,
into a
wait, you
fight.
froze.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a second.
So yeah, my friend that brought me to the job, he got fired. He got in a fight with somebody, with one of the cooks in the line, and the district manager was there. They both got fired, and my manager was just like, "Hey, you're up next. You need to come to the line." I was like, "I don't know nothing about this. This was my first time ever like experiencing it." So walked to the line. It was a complete beautiful chaos, and from there I knew
That was it.
this what I was meant to do.
But do you remember, just going back to your grandmother, do you remember what your first dishes, or like what is it, the first things that she taught
I
you?
have I have faint memories. One thing I do remember us making is maimuna. I know a lot of my peers in my generation hate maimuna, but
Oh, I love my memory. I'm
uh,
about to make some this week too.
yeah. So that's one thing I remember, but I have like faint memories of like what we used to cook together because it was like so long ago. But yeah,
That was one of the first things.
yeah.
So you started working in the kitchen before you went to culinary school? Because I know that's one of the choices you made at some point.
Yes. So I started cooking. I was cooking at home. It's so funny because when I was younger, my mom used to say, even before I even got a job, my mom used to say, "You're gonna be a chef," and I was like, "No
Oh,
way,
really?
never, never." I actually, after Grandma passed away, I actually wanted to be a pilot because my mom was working at the UN, and then
Hmm.
she got me to get a tour of like the planes and stuff with the Marines, and I just like the Air Force, and I just fell in love with it, and I wanted to do it. It's still something I want to do,
Yeah.
um, and yeah. So I fell in love. I fell in love with that, and she was like, "You're gonna be a chef." I said, "Never." So I would always cook with my friends in my teens. My friends would come
Yeah,
over.
internet. Yeah.
Yeah, my friends would come over. I would cook for them, and then I got a job at a restaurant, and I actually worked in a restaurant for a long time before I went to culinary school.
But that's so interesting because, I feel like in our culture, like being a chef or like working in the kitchen is something like parents usually are like, no, baka chef. Like it's, the stigma is like engineer, lawyer, and all those things as like um, acceptable career choices. So it's so interesting that your mom was like, this is what you're meant
Yeah,
to do.
it's a lot of times I tell my friends, they're like, "So you mean to tell me your mom didn't never asked you to be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer?" I said, "No, she told me." I was like probably when I was really young, but by the time I was like 10 to 12, my mom was the very first person that was telling me that I was gonna be a chef, and I was like, "No, I'm never gonna be a chef," but here
Haitian
we
moms
are.
are always right, so
Yeah.
you cannot believe her. So which culinary school did you end up going? Like what influenced that choice for you?
So um, I'm gonna give that with a little, you know,
Yeah.
air quotes. I did go to culinary school 5 years after working, 5 years after being in the field. I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, but I always caution people.
Yeah.
I actually made a post about it not too long ago. I always caution people um, to be very mindful of um, making a choice of going to culinary school,
Awesome.
because it is, before it was more of a training. Now you still get trained and everything, but it's more of a business because the field is growing so much that people realize that, okay, they could make a lot of money just by having culinary school. So there's a lot of culinary schools. So if you do go, if you do choose to go, be mindful because um, yeah, you might be out of pocket for 30,000, 40,000 the first 2 years, and that's for uh,
Soon, I promise.
but yeah, so it might be best to there's different programs to do, but I chose that route. If I could have went back, I would have done it differently. But
Do you
where
think you could have just done it by yourself without going to culinary school? Do you think there's anything like you've learned in culinary school that you would not have learned in real life, I guess?
um I mean, real life teaches you experience that culinary
Yeah.
school never teach you. You know what I mean? Like um, real life teaches you leadership and all this stuff. Because I felt like being in culinary school, you're in a kind of a closed environment.
Yeah.
You're not really able to, like, you have to follow a curriculum. Like, in life, there's no curriculum. You could plan as much as you want, but, once you could plan, you work in a restaurant, you plan for 50 guests and 250 guests walks up. It's just like, so it's just like, I feel like, you know, I feel like if I didn't do it, it definitely opened doors for me because being in America and being a black man, having that degree definitely helped me get jobs where it would have been a little bit more
Harder.
difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
but um, if I would have went back, I'm glad that I did, but I probably would have done it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I agree. I think I used to actually want to go to culinary school. Like that's definitely something my parents pushed me on the direction opposite. Like I did something completely different in it. But the more I'm cooking now, there's things like it's a trial and error type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you want the dish to taste like. So the more you try it, the more you're eventually going to change. But I wanted to ask you, so during your culinary school, because I know you worked at the restaurant and you had your experience with your grandma, has it changed a lot of like your methods, like and how you used to cook before, and did the culinary school kind of like shape your methods differently?
Um, I think for sure because especially in Haitian cuisine, because um, a lot of our traditions are oral. Because Haiti, compared to these other countries, is a very young country.
Yeah.
So a lot of our forefathers, because of slavery and things that happened, um, they didn't know how to read or write. Like my grandma, she didn't know how to read or write, but she knew how to cook from her memory,
Yeah.
and just by looking at somebody doing certain things. But I think um, just the fact that we are a country that is so young, a lot of our stuff is oral tradition. When I went to culinary school, there were things that I was doing I didn't know were being used. Yeah, I didn't know those things were like techniques, and come to find out, is so going to culinary school, and again, you could learn these things working at a restaurant, but yeah, so like just for example, like a thing like making pickles, is something that is very scientific.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
if some of the Koreans, they have something similar called kimchi.
Kimchi.
It's simply fermentation.
Yeah.
So it just uses the salt to break down the fibers and the cabbage and stuff like that. And the longer it sits, the better it tastes. So it's just like you think pickles is just a thing that is just thrown together, but it's a whole scientific method behind it.
Yeah, what about the washing meat? I think that's something that's really big in our traditions too. But like, it's so interesting because it comes up a lot when we talk about Haitian food and the criticism that the Haitian community brings when they don't see your meat being washed or shodi or the works. Was that something? I wouldn't say struggle with, but is it something that also changed your perspective when you went to culinary school?
I think knowledge. That's the thing with knowledge, right? It helps you change your perspective.
Yeah.
So I know later on we're gonna talk about little fun facts and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we shode our meat, if somebody is not Haitian or they're shodeing, is just literally steaming or blanching the meat before we cook it.
Mm.
Just boil hot water, put it on the meat and stuff like that. The reason why we do it is because, again, going back to Haiti being a young country, at a certain point we didn't have refrigeration.
Yeah.
It was more for people that were rich. So, and if you ever been to Haiti, a lot of times they have open market where the meat is sitting out.
Yeah.
So, and again, another thing you learn in culinary school, if meat is sitting out for an extended amount of time, it produces bacteria. So, when you go to the market, whether it's a lot of countries like Haiti, Africa, India, a lot of different countries in Africa. I'm sorry. The meat sits out, for an extended amount of time during the day. If you don't blanch that meat before you eat it, you will get sick. So that is where that method comes from.
Yeah.
And having to do that now, I mean, you can do that if you want. That's a choice, but
right. But if it's fresh,
I think it takes away from the flavor of the meat. It needed, especially if you go to the supermarket and get the meat and you're able to get fresh meat. I think it's something that is different. Even things like Apis was definitely using meat because the meat sits out all day after it's blanched. You have to mask the flavor, and they still do that in places like India, where you put a lot of spices in their food, is because it's really hot. The food sits out all day, and sometimes it's to mask the flavor of the food.
So, when you steered away from that, have you received like a lot of criticism from like
of
your?
Course, of course, our people, Haitian people are very. One thing about us, we guard everything.
Mm.
It's because the country is so young. Most of us are great grandmothers. Is probably one generation removed from independence.
Yeah.
So it's like having those things, in our generation. Thanks, bro. Having those things, that's actually my real life brother.
Yeah.
But having those things guarded, for us in our culture, that's what makes us so guarded. I'm sorry, because a lot of things were passed down by our mom. It's like, oh, you gotta do this way. This is the only way. It's Haitian. Of course, I've gotten a lot of heat, but it's just like I think that's what's needed for a change maker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are just guarded because, there's a lot of misconception, or they just don't try to understand the historical background of why we do things, just like I think the last live I had with Dr. Guinash, we went to like their history of like food and why people still think that we need to comme si for sure des viande, like viande bœuf and all those things. But yeah, I think those conversations are important, and I think that also makes it easier for people to cook, because I think people are very hesitant in cooking Haitian food just because it takes so long, because you have so many process that you think you need to do.
I mean, one thing that people need to know too, cooking in general takes forever.
Forever.
It's just, the French have a term for it, mise en place, is you have to have your stuff ready way ahead of time. Like, if you hear, we're gonna do a little cooking demo in a little bit. A lot of stuff that I'm gonna do is prep beforehand, because if I was gonna do this while I was making this live, if I was doing this while I was making this live, it would have taken the entire day. You know what I mean? So cooking in general is very tasking.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to ask, I know you have a White House. I know you worked at the White House for a little bit. So what administration did you work for? I think first off, I'm really
Uh,
curious to know.
um, yeah, I worked under the Trump administration.
Okay.
I was more so, um, so there. The White House is divided in three different, um, like it's really big, so it's divided in three different buildings.
Yeah.
One of the buildings is the mini kitchen,
Okay.
was head by um, Chef Rush. He's a very cool guy, big guy. He's the guy that cooked directly for the president. And then the
Okay.
other kitchen is the Secret Service and the vice president and the staff and stuff like that. And then the other kitchen is just for the White House staffers. And I work, I cook for the Secret Service and stuff like that. But it was it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah. Did you cook any Haitian food for them? Did they or?
It was kind of structured, so I was not able to cook Haitian food per se,
Okay.
but I definitely threw my little flavor in there a little bit. So
The little spice. Yeah. So I know like you're on the road to get your Michelin star. I know that's one of your goals to have your restaurant and have your your Michelin star. When did you start realizing that Haitian food had the potential to become fine dining or have that fine dining experience?
the minute I started working in fine dining restaurants,
Yeah.
I think, to put it simple, um, a lot of fine dining in general has a lot of African and Caribbean influence to it, because if you really put it into perspective, one of the founders of modern day cooking is Escoffier. Escoffier is a French chef. He really made cooking in restaurants what they are, what we know them today. Cooking in restaurant always existed, but Escoffier was the guy to really put the pen to the paper and measurements, and started culinary school and everything. So around the I believe late 1800s, and if you think around the same time, who was cooking all the food for the slave masters, slave workers? You know what I mean? So even we're gonna give credit, because a lot of those um, um, a lot of those I'm give credit to Escoffier, because he's the one that pioneered and put everything to paper, everything, like all those recipes. A lot of exactly. Thank you so much. He came up with the kitchen brigade. So the way that kitchen is made right now, chef, head chef, sous chef, chef the party, chef de cuisine, all this stuff. He kind of made all those things and all those different things. But if you go to Haiti, the slaves that was being taken from Africa, all those slaves were the ones that were making those foods.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, you don't know if, I'm sure in history somewhere it's not written out, because it was slaves, but the slaves were somehow, because when you're cooking is a beautiful thing, because a lot of things are discovered because you make mistakes.
Yeah.
You put too much sugar, you put too much salt, you leave something out for too long, it ferments, it turns into something else. So if a slave is cooking, I'm sure that they invented something that is not accredited to them. So the minute I stepped foot in a fine dining restaurant, I knew that our cuisine needed to be there.
How was it received? Because I know, Haitian food has stigmas that are attached to it, either based on, the situation of the country, or like what people the perception people have of Haiti. How was it received when you started introducing Haitian food into it?
It's hard on both sides, because again, Haitians were really guarded. We don't want to change everything. If we knew Um, do legume sauce one way, that's how we want it. Um, and the other side is like, well, it's to be, frank, the restaurant industry
Yeah.
is racist. It's very it's very hard. Since the Michelin God has been around, there's only
Yeah.
been one black chef that won it back in 2004. There's a black female chef in Chicago that won a Michelin star, but um, kind of pulled on both sides. But again, I think that's what happened when you're a chain maker. It's not supposed to be easy.
So what, in your opinion, is the reason why Haitian food isn't as recognized as other foods? I think that, in the culinary experience, like, world in general, like especially the fine dining, you have very specific food. Do you think there's a reason why? I mean, I know you spoke about racism, but is there any other reasons why, like, this food is just not something that people see as a fine dining worthy, I guess?
Um, well, it's because a lot of our foods were created by. There's two things. One is because it's in um, we're a country that is from our inception. The traditions are oral. We don't have nothing written down. We don't have any recipe. Our language really became formal in '87 because nothing was really formal. So
Mm.
that aspect of it, because nothing was written down. And number two is because a lot of our food they were they were made by slaves to kind of help them stay full. One pot meals to help them stay full longer. So it's just like a lot of people know how to make certain things. Now you're seeing a lot of documenting because of the internet. So, um, so I think a lot more people are recognizing Haitian food now. But
Yeah.
I think it's because of nothing was written down, and because um, because we have the stigma of slavery.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I mean, we're ready to see your demonstration, but I think I wanted to ask you, so where do you get your inspiration for the meals you cook? Because I think what you make is absolutely amazing and beautiful. Like your plating or what you decide to transform. Like, what do you get your inspirations from?
Um, I honestly, one of the things that I would tell everybody is, if you are inspired to cook, if you're a chef, find restaurants and um, off give your time for knowledge. So go there and say, hey, I'm willing to stage, to work for free
Yeah.
for 1 day, 2 days, whatever, and you would learn from the things that you take that are inspire you to create new dishes. But I'm really inspired by places that I've been when I was a kid. Um, just Haiti in general. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
country. It's colorful in spite of everything that's going on. But I think inspiration from other amazing chefs that um, that I admire, that I love, that I look up to. It's a lot of different things, and I'm I love art. So just looking at art and being connected to artists, music, there's so many things that inspire me. So I think if you're a chef out there, you just have to find something that inspires you and that will help you. And don't try to be like somebody else,
Yeah.
because um, whatever you're doing, if you want to do specific things, don't try to be like another person, because um, that might affect your inspiration, because now you're just not tapping into your creativity. So I think that's it. That's me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see what you're about to make. Can you tell us a little bit about it or?
Yes. So that dish is inspired by Cape Haitian. Cape Haitian is on the north side of the country. It's a dish that they make all the time. But of course, we're gonna elevate it. I don't want to say elevate because our food is already elevated. But we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna make this dish um, as if we were playing it for a Michelin star restaurant. We're making poula noir, which is instead of using which is chicken with cashews and black trumpet mushrooms, but instead of using an actual chicken, I'm using a French hen a pintade or guinea fowl, as they call it. So we're going to do that, and it's going to be beautiful. I posted a video yesterday. I'm going to post other little clips on my story after this live, so you can see
Okay.
how to do certain things because it would just take forever. So um, yeah, let's get
Okay.
started.
Just a side note, this is also my favorite dish. Every time I go to Haiti, that's one thing my mom always makes me. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I absolutely. I'm gonna move this. You won't see me as much. You're gonna see more of the this. So yes, we're gonna make um, basically my take on a chicken poule avec noix. So for this, we're gonna use. So what I did was I bought the bird the other day. I brined it. Brining is just really just allowing the meat to sit into a water,
Seasonings. Yeah.
a flavored water, like which is salt. So I use salt and thank you, Chef Gabby. Um, yeah, just salt, just so that the flavor can penetrate the meat, so it can
Hmm.
be really seasoned. So if you're doing this, you want to do it at home. You want to do about 4 parts water to 1 part salt. So in order for it for you to have a nice brine, you can add some garlic in there. It's gonna add some nice flavor. And then after that, I removed it, let it air dry, and that's really gonna help when you're searing the skin, so the skin is not chewy. It's gonna be really crispy.
Okay.
But we're gonna do this. I'm gonna move this back a little bit because you're gonna need to see. So we're gonna the way we're gonna do it. I made. So we're gonna use one of my favorite things. So this right here, it's an immersion circulator, or when you the technique of cooking in there is called sous vide. So basically, invest in one of those, the vacuum seal.
Yeah.
That's going to allow you to. It's gonna cook whatever you're cooking at the perfect temperature. It's not gonna go over. It's not gonna overcook. It's not gonna be dry. It's not. It's gonna be the exact temperature. So
Sorry, someone asked, is it a breast or
yes, I use a breast. So
okay.
unlike the chicken breast, if you're using guinea fowl, if you're using guinea fowl or French hen, the breast is a little bit more resistant. It's not. It doesn't get as dry as fast as a regular chicken breast because the chicken breast will get dry.
Yeah.
Um, so this is perfect, and we make this a lot in Haiti. So what I did was, okay. So this is this is a very important part of the process. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Um, so this is a very important part of the process. So after I broke down my chicken, I took all the tenders, and I had an extra breast. I took all the tenders and the breast. I made a mousse. So a mousse is is a very it's a French technique. All you do is take the chicken, cut it up, mince it into fine pieces, and if you put it into a food processor, you blend it into fine. Because if you do it by hand, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
So you mince it, and then you put it into the food processor. Add 1 egg yolk and some heavy cream, salt, and other spices if you want, and then blend it. And then this is your chicken mousse.
Okay.
So what we do next is if you have a piping bag, or it might be a little bit easier. But if you do this, again, I did this the day before.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna save you so much time. So you're gonna remove the breast, not the breast, the skin a little bit, move it back a little bit. So you're gonna do this. I'm gonna bring you guys closer. So with this, I'm gonna take my mousse,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna add my mousse on my chicken. And you, like I said, you can also do this with a piping bag. It's gonna make your life a little bit easier. And then you cover it, and then I rinse my hand. I'm sorry. And then what you do again? This chicken is brined in salt water, so it's already kind of infused with flavor and stuff like that. So you just take this chicken, stick it in your bag, your vacuum seal bag. I usually do thyme, garlic. You can do shallots.
I think I'm gonna ask for one for Christmas.
Listen, this is the best. This is one of the best things. I'm actually want to get one that's a little bit bigger. This is the best thing you can invest in as a chef or as a foodie. I love those things. So thyme. If you're doing chicken, you want to do herbs that are not too strong. You can do a little rosemary, but not too much because it's gonna overpower chicken. Because the French Guinea is very strong, unlike chicken. So I do garlic, and I usually do 1 stick of butter,
Okay.
and then some oil. Flavor neutral oil. Like you could do a little bit of olive oil, but not too much because it's kind of strong.
Okay.
And then I got some truffle salt, and just a little bit, and then close the bag. Seal it. I have all this stuff over here because I was trying to show you guys this step. So it's gonna make a little noise. So now it's gonna seal, and then after it seals, just put it in there. I usually put it in there for about an hour, and then after an hour, you can set it in there overnight. I set it in the fridge overnight, and then next day you'll be able to work with it. So with the chicken poula noir, we're gonna make. I show you on my page yesterday. I put the recipe for the breadfruit rings. And what we're gonna do again, we're just doing different things with ingredients that we're commonly used with.
Yeah.
We're just doing something different. So we got the breadfruit ring. We're gonna fry it. So we're gonna give you the breadfruit 3 different ways. We're gonna have the breadfruit ring that is fried, and we're gonna have a breadfruit espuma, which is like a foam in the ring, and then we have dehydrated breadfruit chips that's gonna go on top.
That is so cool.
Yeah, with the poula noir, and then we have the sauce for our chicken. So this is essentially taking the bones and roasting them. After you roast them, make a stock and let the stock reduce all the way down. If you use people frying up on chicken feet, that's going to give your sauce a lot of gelatin. It's going to make it like really palatable.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we're going to get started. So this is going to be in there for the remainder of the time that we're doing this video. All right. So let's get this party started. So I got my chicken that's been in the bag.
I know he's the best.
Huh?
Someone just said I love Chef Sebastian's food. I said I know he's the best.
Thank you. So you want to make sure that you are. I'm gonna move the camera back a little bit. Alright, so once you take this chicken out, this chicken is already cooked.
Yeah.
It's cooked all the way through, and now we're gonna just want to pat it dry. Now we're going to sear it.
Someone says, please tell Chef the Cuban says hello.
What's up, my brother? I got to move it back so you're able to
No
see
worries.
me. And all right. So, cast iron, we talked about cleaning it, seasoning it. It gets very hot. It's very good. It's been used for hundreds of years, especially in, you know, and stuff like that. So if you have one of those, you can literally have it for forever, literally. As long as you take care of it, you clean it, you season it. We talked about that a little bit earlier. So just wait for this to get hot. So initially what you want to do, if you haven't used it in a while, you can just put some salt in there, stick it into the oven, and once it's done, they sell scrubs where you can have the scrub and scrub the salt, and get rid of the salt, and then season it, and you should be good to go. It takes about, it could take for as long as a day, but if you need it right away, it could take, like 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
if you don't clean it, your food would be, it just leave a weird taste, and your food would just have a weird color.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have any questions, anything you'd like to ask while we're waiting for this pan to get hot,
I'll read you out the questions if I see any.
all right. So,
Thank you.
So what we want to do, you just want to do a low smoking point oil. That's your canola oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil. Although I don't really like using peanut oil because of allergies, but you're a little bit better using the grapeseed oil or canola oil and stuff like that. It'll help your stuff not burn really fast. So
Okay.
all you do, oil your pan, and since you want this, I'm just gonna get a little bit more hot. Since you want your pan to be really hot, so that breast can have some really nice color in it. And in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take chicken stock, and again, that's from that chicken. That's from that that hen that I use, the pinta that I use. You don't throw nothing away. You use everything. So you take those bones after you break down the chicken, you roast them. That process will take, it will take some time, but the flavors that you would get with your food would be amazing. So this is from that same, this is from that hen. You make your stock. I'm gonna add a little bit of that, and I'm gonna add my sauce.
Which sauce was that again? This one?
This is essentially the chicken sauce with, you add chicken feet to get a lot of gelatin.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it's like sorry, it's not really coming out.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like molasses. So the flavor on that is phenomenal. So,
I can imagine.
And this process takes around a day and a half to do. And if when you're heating up that sauce, you want to be very careful because it'll burn really fast because of all the gelatin in there. So once you heat it up, you want to do it when it's not too hot. So I'm just gonna do it on low.
Me too.
Alright, so my pan is getting hot, and so my sauce is getting hot. And then one thing we could also do while we're waiting instead of giving you the black trumpet mushroom the way we used to, we're gonna make a foam. A foam is essentially just a foam. We use lecithin, which is actually
Hold on, you break up. It broke up a little bit, so I don't think we heard the first part you said.
so it essentially allows air to form, and once you whip it quickly, like once you add lecithin into whatever liquid, it allows air to incorporate it and create a foam. It's literally a foam that has flavor. So while you want your cast iron to be really really hot. So I'm just gonna do. This is the black mushroom. I boiled it down. You reduced it so it could really have that flavor. You don't need a lot, and I'm just gonna add some soy lecithin in there. And then my pan is ready. I'm gonna add my chicken. And then when I add my chicken, I usually add garlic. And some thyme. And then we're gonna do some shallots.
So garlic, thyme, shallots.
Huh?
You said garlic, thyme, and shallots?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So see this, the color.
It's getting crispy. Yeah, that was amazing.
So,
Yes, you can use the jonjon, the black trumpet, to make the black rice, the Haitian black rice.
Yep.
I made some today, actually.
Huh?
I said I made some today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How do you get that?
My mom made me a little care package. She sent me 2 big things of jonjon from Haiti.
Look at you. So I want to make sure I'm checking on my sauce because this is all gonna come together.
That looks so good already.
Alright, so this is nice, some nice color. We're gonna add some butter. And now we're gonna baste it. Essentially just this part is right here. When you baste it, it just allows you can get some nice color without really burning your meat.
Yeah.
So after we do this, we're going to. So this is done. We're gonna let our meat rest. This is what it looks like.
It looks so good.
You're gonna let it rest. So when you cut it, because you know there's the mousse inside, so the mousse don't come out. Move this back over here. All right. So any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
Questions?
Oh, and also
If
if you're using a circulator, if you're using a circulator, you could add some wine in the bag to add some acidity to your whatever meat you're using.
You could add some what? Sorry, it broke up.
Some wine, some
Okay.
white wine, because it'll have some nice acidity to it. And then we're gonna do some spinach. So this is essentially just spinach that is blanched. After you blanch it, you make sure you put it over a strainer. You remove as much water as possible, and after you do that, you chop it really, 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 really fine.
Okay.
And I'm just going to add some butter, add my spinach. All right,
Someone
so
asked, can I try it now? Well, hopefully
uh,
in March, Chef Salomon can come in Germany and we can try it. You guys can try it then.
yeah, hopefully one day. Um, so you want to add your butter to the spinach and let it, you know, you said
Reduce.
you want
Yeah.
to have something like a cream spinach
Mm-hmm.
with the butter. All right, so now, I don't know if you guys can see this from here. All right, my sauce is coming together.
Oh, that looks so good.
I'm just gonna turn it up a little bit.
Someone asked, which brand of immersion circulator do you recommend?
Honestly, uh, back then when they were making them, they were really expensive. Now, I know Nova makes a really good one. I don't have a Nova, but I do eventually want to get a Nova. They're really good. But to be honest, uh, to make the glass take it might take like 2 days to make the sauce because you have to roast the chicken bones. After you roast them, you have to um, make the stock, and after you make the stock, you gotta reduce this. After you make the stock, it's gonna take about 8 hours. And after you do that, you have to reduce the sauce. So if you roast the bones and you add chicken feet in there, that's gonna add a lot of gelatin. That's gonna make your sauce like like really delicious. And then after that, you have to reduce it all the way down. So you'll make this much sauce, and you have to reduce it down to
Tiny.
this. So it takes a long time, but you know that's how
It's
life is.
worth it.
Great things take time. So um, yeah, so you want this to be essentially like a cream spinach, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our foam. So this is just the black trumpet mushroom broth with soy lecithin. You can get that on Amazon anywhere. So all
Mm-hmm.
you do is you gotta be careful because I might need to add a little bit more because you want those that foam to be really that you're able to grab it with a spoon and put on the plate. So
What is that thing you added called again?
soy lecithin.
So this. Okay. I need to try
Yeah.
this.
If you have any questions, just hit me up. I got you.
Perfect.
Essentially, you're going for this. This is your
Oh
phone.
wow. Oh, that looks so good.
And when it's time to plate, I'm going to just use the blender to re-emulsify so that I can get more air in
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, what else? And then we're gonna fry our breadfruit green. I love breadfruit. It's one of the things that I grew up eating. I ate it a lot when I was a kid. If you go to Haiti, they have street merchants selling street food on the
Yeah.
side of the road. Um, and you can get fried breadfruit. How else can you get it? Boiled, grilled, um, baked. It's just so many ways that you can get it. So
Doing.
I love it. I love it. I can
I've
definitely.
recently started liking breadfruit. I think that it's not something I really grew up on. I've only had it really fried.
That's what it looks like. Um, so it's essentially if you use a jackfruit, it just it tastes better than the jackfruit. It's very hard to find. It's mostly known in Caribbean communities and
Hmm.
African communities. I mean, I think some Asian communities. So it's and also there's a different variation that has nuts inside. A bread nut. Oh my goodness, it's like it's the best thing. Just boil it. When I was growing up, my mom used to make chicken with it. Just put it
Oh,
in the sauce.
really?
Like yeah, it's so good. Actually, um, I have some. I went to visit my dad a couple days ago. And this is the breadfruit nut. It's the Caribbean chestnut. It tastes really good. You
Apparently,
can
it's really
make
good for you, also.
yeah, it's very good for you. So, and then breadfruit is so versatile. You can do so many things with it. I absolutely love it. If you can't tell already. So I made these beautiful rings. Um, it's really easy to make. I have it in my profile. I made a video of how to do it.
Mhm.
Um, I made a lot of different variations, different sizes. So, yeah, but I think I'm gonna use this for the plate because I like it because it's kind of small.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
So what we're gonna do now is, and then what I did was I used my breadfruit, sliced it really thin. I have a dehydrator,
Hmm.
and those are not expensive. If you get, I have a, if you get a dehydrator, but I have a Ninja Fruity, and
Yeah.
it comes with all those things in there. So you could just, and also if you want, somebody was asking about the uh, circulator, you
Hmm.
could get a Ninja Fruity that comes with a circulator in there.
Oh, that's
So,
pretty cool.
so it has all those things. So the one that I have has a dehydrator, so I just dehydrated the chip and then roasted it and then turned it into a plating component, and you'll see how it all comes together.
I
So
know Santa is here, so I'm waiting for this under my Christmas tree.
we're gonna fry this, and we have our spinach. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And then I also have some poulin noir. This is dehydrated cashews. Again, it's
Cashews.
just don't showing the food, and it's using the ingredient to its full capacity. So um, so while my breadfruit is frying,
You have an invite to Hamburg to to make food, and you have a photographer that's going to shoot it for you.
it's actually one of my friends. We talk all the time. He lives in Germany, so uh, I can't wait. So my ring is frying. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's almost there. So after you fry it, you wanna put it into something that so that the oil basically you could drain the oil off of it.
Mhm.
Um, and in the meantime, this is my sauce. If you can see it, but
You
it's
can
like
imagine it smells so good right now. I just
it's.
imagine it.
I wish they had a feature where
A
everybody
smell
can
of
smell
vision.
what we're doing. Yeah.
Someone asked, do you boil the ring before frying it?
Uh huh.
Someone asked if you boil the ring before frying it.
Yeah. Just go. If you go to my page, I made the whole video just
Yeah,
for
the
you
whole video for
because
it.
it doesn't although it doesn't take long, but it does take some time.
The
So
process. Hmm.
yeah, essentially you just boiling it and then mashing it and adding um, ingredients to it, and then baking it for a little bit, and then you fry it.
Yeah.
So, and then since we're using spinach, we have some spinach powder to put on the ring when it comes out too. So this is gonna be a really really beautiful, colorful plate.
Excited.
All right. So I'm gonna fry another one just for the sake of it. So now I just take my spinach.
Someone asked if you can do the same with plantain or yuca.
Uh,
You have a
sorry,
question if you can do the same process with plantain or
I'm
yuca.
not sure about yuca, but you definitely could do it with plantains.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like.
Oh, it looks so good.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful.
And we're almost done. We're about to move on to our plating phase next. And you want to make sure that you are tasting everything. Um, add salt where salt is needed. And then we have grapefruit cream. I don't know what
Oh,
it is.
okay.
I'll find it in a second. I have it somewhere. But which I put it into my siphon, which is like a nitrogen gun
Mm-hmm.
to turn stuff into really cool things. So we just really made the cream. I'm gonna post it on my story once I'm done. So this is the cream. This is the cream right here.
Yeah.
All right, we have pretty much all of our components done. So we're going to move into I guess the best part. Actually, before we do that, you guys can come over here for a second. Our chicken that is rested for a little bit.
Oh, it looks so good.
We're going to cut it. All right, is this good?
Yeah.
All right. So just wanna. So you see that mousse that's on the inside?
Oh, it is so juicy.
Yeah.
Looks so
So
good.
I'm just gonna cut a little bit of the end right here because that's how we're gonna serve it, just like that, standing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna taste. I'm gonna take a taste for everybody. All right.
I can imagine. This already looks so good. I'm jealous. So who gets to eat all this when you're done, like at your
uh,
home?
probably most likely me or my wife. All right. So I don't know if you guys could see. Can you?
Yeah, so far it's pretty clear.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna move it somewhere that is a little bit better
Okay.
for you guys to see.
I'm having some money since I can eat your food.
Now,
I think you need to maybe push it back a little bit more.
got you.
Because I only see half the plate.
Now,
No, we need to back up. But yeah. Yeah, definitely. Perfect.
all right. So, we're going to do our chicken right here. We're going to do our spinach. If you have any questions, please let me know. Breadfruit espuma. Hold on 1 second.
I know it froze. Okay. Is that the dehydrated breadfruit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Breadfruit cream. And we're gonna finish it with our sauce.
Someone asked, what do you choose first when you create a recipe? For example, this one. Do you base it off the chicken or?
That's a very good question. I honestly, sometimes I just wing it.
You see what happens.
I mean, I feel like a lot of times we put so much boundaries. I mean, it happens to me sometimes. We
Yeah.
put so much boundaries and so many things that don't need to be there. And it makes the process so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to whip my. And then we got our cashews. Just gonna do a little bit of cashew in the sauce. And that's it, really.
It looks so good. Are those like edible flowers or?
Yep, this edible microgreens.
Mm.
So that's pretty much it.
That is amazing. Look at this. It's so incredible how you transform something that it, because I
So
think if you look at it traditionally, it looks so different. And
yeah, for sure. I think that's the hard thing about convincing people to look at things in different
Or
ways
different
that they used to.
yeah.
So, yeah,
No, I think that's good. I think you know, personally, I admire completely the work that you do and how you transform Haitian food. It does push me in my kitchen to try to like create differently or um, take my the mindset that I have of Haitian cuisine and want to do different experiences. So I'm excited to see where you're going to take this, and I'll definitely be one of the first people to come eat
for
at
sure,
your
for sure,
restaurant. I'm rooting for you, 100%. We're gonna get
for
that
sure.
star.
Well, we definitely gonna get that. So
We're gonna get that star. We're gonna get the stars.
it's not a matter of if no more. It's a matter of when.
Of when I know I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm the chef's table, all those things. They're coming.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody in here is watching, save this. Remember this
Remember this moment. We have it.
for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much for cooking this for us. I really wish I was in your kitchen right now and able to try this
Yeah, for
after.
sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Over for dinner.
So do you want to do I really wanted to do a little quick fire round question, just like to
For
know you a
sure.
little bit more. Um, so what would be your death row meal?
Oh gosh, I didn't think about it. I don't know. That's hard. Uh, Probably a seafood paella. That's one of my favorite
Oh,
dishes.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good too. I made a John John paella
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. Usually Creole
Oh,
seafood paella. Yeah.
that was bomb. So if you were stuck on a deserted island, which tool would you bring to survive? Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. So if you were stuck on a deserted island, which tool would you want to have with you to survive in your kitchen?
How many do I get?
You get one.
Uh, do I get like one protein, one meat, or
No, you get a tool, like so you can use.
oh, which tool? Which
Yeah.
tool? Um, dang, that's a hard one. If I'm in a deserted place, I'll probably have no electricity, so I can't use anything with power. Um, Probably my knife, or I don't know, because I feel like
Yeah.
I could start a fire with wood. I just use my knife to
To
find
kill
food for
or
myself.
do.
Yeah,
That's fair. What is your favorite food to make? Like something you can make every day?
that's hard. That's question that's hard. I can't answer this.
No,
Um, Probably my favorite dish, seafood paella.
you would make it. You would eat it all day.
I could literally eat that thing every day. That would not bother me.
I
Every
agree.
day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I agree. When I lived in Sweden, that's all I ate too. Okay, so you have to pick one. I'm gonna give you our this or that question. Rio or tasso?
Oof. Tasso.
Jus jonjon or jus collé?
Uh, John John.
Mac and cheese or macaroni
Mac and
gratini?
cheese.
Really?
Haitian style.
Haitian. Okay, so the macaroni
Yeah,
gratini.
yeah, yeah.
Soup joumou or bouillon?
Oh man. Subjumu.
So is there any Haitian fun fact food that you can share with us? Like
Oh, I
something.
didn't hear you kind of cut out before you.
Oh, I said, do you have any fun fact about Haitian food that you could share? Or
Um, Fun fact about Haitian food. Uh, we're gonna have a Michelin star restaurant very soon.
We're going to have a Michelin star restaurant.
That's a fun fact.
But I guess that's also my next question was, what is something people should know about Haitian food?
That is probably one of the most underrated food and one of the best food that you could ever have. And I'm not saying this because I'm Haitian.
I agree,
I
absolutely.
literally I've literally tried so many foods, and it's just like the heart. You gotta think about it. The heart of every cuisine in the world, it's in Haitian food. Statutory, I'm not being. It's literally.
Absolutely.
You want Middle Eastern food, it's in the heart of Haitian food. You want French food, that's the heart of Haitian food. You want Spanish food. So it's just like literally all roads lead to Haiti when it comes to food. And I'm not saying this because I'm Haitian, but if you do your history, if you research, if you read books, you will see that when it comes to food, like kind of all roads lead to Haiti. From Africa to Asia, it all comes to Haiti.
I absolutely agree. I have nothing else to add to it. I think that's something I say all the time. It's one of the most underrated, but once you taste it, it changes everything.
But it has to be done right. So I just want to put that out there, because I know a lot of people try Haitian food. They're like, oh my God, it's not good. It has to be done right. You know, you can't go to like a random mom and pop. It has to be somebody that knows how to make it. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. Again, on my side, I've admired your work for the longest time.
Thank you so much.
I'm super excited to watch your journey, to see where you're going with this and how far you're taking Haitian food and the stigmas and barriers you're breaking with them, with your food. So
thank you so much. It was definitely a pleasure to do this.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you soon. I'll definitely be messaging you for some tips
for sure
in the kitchen. So hopefully we can do this again soon. Next time I'm in DC, I'm definitely coming over and we can make something together.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.